Well, who's up next? Which star is up next to fall? Well, that's the question that many fans and folks in the entertainment industry have been asking ever since Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested and charged in federal court with sex trafficking. Now we know who's up next, Jay-Z. Last night, news broke that Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, the rap music legend, was named in a Diddy rape lawsuit. So let's just take a quick listen before I get into talking about this, because I have so much I have to say about this story. Jay-Z has already responded, and I'm going to read his response, but I want to go into the news report right now.
Rap and media mogul Jay-Z now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs. Now, this lawsuit was originally filed back in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Diddy as the defendant. But it was just refiled today to include Jay-Z now, whose real name is Sean Carter. Of course, he's the husband of Beyonce. The anonymous accuser alleging the assault occurred after she was driven to an after party following the MTV Video Music Awards. The suit says she was offered a drink that made her feel, quote, woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Shortly after, the suit claims Jay-Z and Diddy entered the room where she was resting, eventually sexually assaulting her. And now, just in the last hour, we are hearing from Jay-Z and his team of lawyers. They are denying the claim and say that they are the victims of blackmail, saying, quote, I will not give you one red penny, and my only heartbreak is for my family. Joining us now to break this all down as it's happening, News Nation Law and Justice contributor, former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffendorfer. Jennifer, thanks for staying with us on this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And so we just received a response from the victim's lawyer, really just in the last few minutes. Take a look. This is on social media. A lawyer, Tony Busby, saying Jay-Z has, quote, tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff, but his conduct has had the opposite impact. He goes on to say that the allegations speak for themselves and he will let the facts come out in court, not in the media. What do you make of this real-time back and forth that we're seeing between these two parties tonight?
Well, it is interesting, and I think it's because Jay-Z came out so strongly and said, listen, I'm going to go after you. And then he filed a suit quickly on the heels of the other suit against Busby and the accuser. So because of that, you're seeing this taunting sort of back and forth in the media.
Do you believe that we may see Jay-Z face a judge? And if so, when would we see him in court? Any indication there yet?
Well, we're definitely going to see him, I believe, on this suit. There are so many details. You know, they describe a house, a driveway, another woman being there. They discuss about a driver taking her. So she's locked into this story now, and that means there could be additional witnesses to corroborate her story or refute the story.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned the specificity of the details really stand out to you in this filing. Do you find it strange that the filing originally did not include Jay-Z, just Diddy, and now Jay-Z is suddenly added today? I mean, does that make Jay-Z's addition in any way less credible, or is this not in fact so unusual?
It's not unusual when they're still digging up information and facts to prove the allegations that they're trying to make. In addition, remember, this 13-year-old says there's a female there. That has not been disclosed either. That will be very interesting because she could be culpable in this as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do you expect we are going to be seeing other celebrity names added and refiled in other lawsuits involving Diddy?
I do. I think this really has a web that wraps around many different people, and I think we're going to see a lot more people named.
Tell me more about the details of any potential blackmail. We do see Jay-Z and his team really coming out swinging, making that allegation. Wouldn't that be a fairly easy allegation to prove? I mean, if in fact Busby reached out trying to blackmail him, wouldn't they have the receipts for that?
Well, what happened was Busby reached out and offered a mediation session, said that his client was amenable to that. I think that is what Jay-Z is sort of extrapolating as being some sort of, extortion or bribery situation. And really, that shouldn't be seen in that light.
So she says a lot. This is a lot to unpack. It's funny. She says he shouldn't be seen in that light. I'm going to say that if I am innocent and someone says, we want to meet for some sort of mediation, and I'm innocent and I didn't have anything to do with this, I'm going to be like, what am I meeting with you for? That's if I'm innocent. And again, Jay-Z has denied sexually assaulting any teenage girl. He says this is not true. And I'm going to get into reading his statement. But it does make me question, and I know that the interviewee there said, it's not uncommon for people to be added later on, but it does make me feel a certain type of way where I'm thinking, well, if you were in fact raped and you're giving an account of who all was in the room, and this person who is a megastar, Jay-Z's a megastar, was in the room, I would think that his name would definitely be called alongside P. Diddy Combs's. I'm just thinking this thing through, and I hope you all don't get emotional when I'm saying this. And I'm in no way blaming this alleged victim or anything. Sometimes things start to come back later, but I'm just saying, if I'm in a room with someone as major as Jay-Z, that's definitely something that's going to be at the forefront of my mind. I read Jay-Z's statement last night. This news broke last night, and I intentionally didn't do a video yesterday because I wanted this to settle a little bit in my mind. I don't like just reacting off of things very easily because I think that sometimes people just go off of emotion rather than really thinking things through. But I'm going to get into all of this because, like I said, so many people have been already speculating that Jay-Z must have been involved because of his closeness with Sean Combs and the fact that they were, friends, longtime friends. I think Diddy had produced several songs for Jay-Z in the past. They were friends. They definitely hung out with one another. You would have seen Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce at Diddy's parties. I think a lot of folks they questioned why he didn't speak up after Diddy had that he was criticized in the media so much after his arrest, even before, especially as it related to Cassie. When Cassie came out with her lawsuit, it was like Jay-Z wasn't saying anything. And a lot of folks took that as some sort of admission of guilt, like, oh, he was probably just as complicit as Sean Combs, and so he didn't want to say anything. I took it a little differently. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, that people try to keep their head low and stay out of it if they are as complicit. But I also think Jay-Z, like a lot of celebrities, is in this damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. Meaning, if he is indeed friends with Puffy, he's not going to come out. A lot of people wouldn't come out and say, oh yeah, my boy is, sexually assaulted someone, or I think it's disgusting or anything like that. I think he just kept a low profile so he didn't get involved. He didn't want to throw his friend under the bus. It could be also that he may have been complicit. We don't know. I don't know. But I think he probably was like, maybe my boy messed up and I don't want to be involved in throwing him under the bus. People are already doing that. Who knows? Some of you who are watching this program today might say, oh, he should have spoken out. But if somebody did something in your own family or your own coworker who you're really cool with or friend, you wouldn't say anything either. So I think he probably just wanted to keep his head low, or maybe he was complicit and he just didn't want to draw any attention to himself. You see, a lot of celebrities are scrubbing their timelines, their Instagram and Twitter timelines, because they don't want any affiliation with folks like Diddy. And I think we're going to see that in the coming weeks as well with Jay-Z. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of his partnerships start to fall by the wayside, even though he has not been convicted in a court of law. These are all allegations, but it's not uncommon for companies to just sort of disassociate from artists when they're going through things like this. I want to read this statement that Jay-Z's team, or he posted to the Rock Nation website at 7:34 p.m. This was yesterday, December 8th. So let me just read this, because I wondered if he wrote this or his team wrote it or they wrote it together. It just seemed, I don't know, it didn't seem like a typical statement that you would get from a lawyer. It just seemed a bit unhinged. I don't know how to describe it. So let me just read this and I will put it up on the screen as well. It says, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a, quote, lawyer, lawyers in quotes, named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. These are really bold pronouncements from somebody. If he is in fact guilty, that's a really bold statement to make. A very bold statement to say, to challenge someone. I don't know if the statute of limitations would have already passed or not, but to challenge someone to say, if I did these things that are so heinous, don't try to just get money. Don't just try to get money. Try to get me thrown in prison in a criminal case. So I'm hoping this doesn't backfire on him. I'm really hoping this doesn't backfire on him and that what he is saying is, listen, I'm clean and we're going to go the full 100 with this. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. Woo! You have made this is strong. These are strong words. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities, in quotes, are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project. A young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists face fake physics. I don't know what he's trying to say here. That's why I tell you, this seems so unhinged. Fake physics? I don't know what he's saying. Will believe the idiotic claims that you have levied against me, that if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. You know, again, this is an allegation and a very strong one. And I know that a lot of people might just go, oh, who cares what Jay-Z says? We believe these allegations. But I always say anyone can make an allegation. Anyone can say anything about anyone. And, you know, you get tried in the court of public opinion and it's not fair. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I think what gives people a lot of pause is that we've kind of seen this show before. We've seen artists like a P. Diddy Combs refuse to acknowledge a lot of the things that they were accused of. I mean, after Cassie initiated her lawsuit, which he quickly settled, he was in everybody's crosshairs and he came out swinging, saying that basically Cassie is lying and that time is a truth teller, or time will reveal all things. The truth will come out. And then the truth did come out. And what we saw was him abusing Cassie on a hotel floor in the worst way that just sort of attracted so much swift condemnation from so many different people. And then we saw him coming on the camera and saying, oh, I was messed up and these were dark times for me. And I'm so sorry, you know, for what I did to Cassie. But before that tape came out, he was saying he didn't do it. He was saying he didn't do it. And there are people who were still saying that Cassie was in it for a money grab until that video came out. And I watched Piers Morgan Uncensored a few weeks ago. This is when he had Jaguar right on. And Jay-Z and Beyonce, I think they hit Piers with a cease and desist letter after he had Jaguar on, and Jaguar was saying certain things about Sean Carter being worse than P. Diddy Combs.
Do you feel vindicated
Yes.
by the events of the last few weeks?
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally, the victims. They're not safe.
And I think they had to pull certain things that she said out of the video, out of the video. And Jaguar Wright has been making pronouncements about people in the industry for a very long time, years. She's an entertainer herself. She's a singer, and she had worked with a lot of these folks. And one of the things that always sort of stood out to me is the fact that she would say a lot of things that I would think any artist that they heard these things would have just said, you know what, I'm going to shut her up with a cease and desist, or I'm going to sue the pants off of her. But she has instead taunted Jay-Z, saying, please sue me. Sue me. If what I'm saying is incorrect, go ahead and sue me. I would love to go to court, because if I go to court, then everything is going to come out. And they've not touched her. Instead, they've sort of gone around her when she was on Piers Morgan's platform and threatened Piers Morgan instead. There was also an attorney on that same episode. Her name was Ariel Mitchell Kidd, and she's representing one of the alleged victims, one of Diddy's alleged victims. And she talked about having seen a tape. And on that tape was another A-list star. This is at one of Diddy's freak-offs. And this star is much bigger than Diddy Combs. And I was just like, well, who could that be? I mean, there are a lot of stars who are much bigger.
And just to be clear, two thoughts about this. One, is it a household name that we're talking about here? And secondly, are they engaged in any criminality from what you understand?
Household name, very much so. More of a household name than Mr. Combs.
Wow,
And
really?
criminality, they are engaged in pornography. They're not doing anything illegal per se. I can't say that well, I'll say this. My concern was that I could not verify the age of the individual. And so that was my concern about not having anything sent to me and viewing it in the way that I did via stills, via FaceTime video. So I didn't want to have anything in my phone, because my issue is we can't determine if this person is 17 to 21.
And then also we hear this, as the details are coming out, the fact that there is a woman inside of this video as well. She's on this video. This statement that was released yesterday sounds like it was locked, loaded, and ready to fire off. It just seemed like it was ready. The minute this thing came out, it was ready. And maybe he had it at the ready because he had already had this attorney contact him saying we want to have some sort of mediation. So it's like, when this happens, I'm going to be ready to go. But it did seem a bit, I don't know if I want to use the word unhinged, but it certainly sounded like he was definitely in a panic, as a lot of people would be. I don't want you all to sleep on this one bit and act like this is not a big deal. Being accused of sexually assaulting a minor is a major deal. That's like, if he's found to be guilty and convicted, this is a man who could be on a sex offenders registry. So let's be clear that these are really serious matters. I think what we're also going to see in the coming weeks, regardless of whether Jay-Z is innocent or not, is that you're going to have a lot of fans are going to walk away. You know how it goes. A lot of brands that, were loving up on Jay-Z are just going to be like, I don't even want to affiliate with you right now. And they probably, I think his wife is going to be affected as well. Beyonce may definitely lose some support because people just don't want to have anything affiliated with their brand at this point. This is a major blow to their brand. I wouldn't be surprised if the Super Bowl says, listen, while this is playing out, we need you to step aside. And other brands are like, we just don't need you to be the face of this right now. I think it's going to be a major blow. And, one of the things I think I also want to say is that I feel like there are folks out there who are concerned that a minor may have been assaulted, and it's like, oh, we got to get to the bottom of this. But I think that a good chunk of people are just happy to see the Carters fall. They're happy to see Jay-Z fall. I'm not one of those people, and I've said this on my channel before. I don't take delight in people's downfall, because today it's you, tomorrow it's me. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to mess someone's life up over a rumor, over an allegation. And he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. He seems very fired up. And we'll see if he does go to court and what happens, in this. Because as this attorney Ariel said, there is no way to determine the person's age in the video. So he could very well say, well, I didn't know that she was 13, because what is a 13-year-old doing at a freak off party or doing at a Diddy party, period? You know, and I've said too in previous videos that this is why you have to be so careful about the company you keep. And only that, don't be so quick or so eager to be invited to the cool kids club. You know, I remember doing a video last year, I believe it was, where I said Marlon Wayans, for example, was questioning why he wasn't invited to, I can't remember if it was Diddy's party, or I think it was Diddy's party. He was questioning why he never got an invite. And I was like, man, that was your protection. Sometimes, you know, that rejection is your protection. So you have to be very, very cautious about the types of people who you're hanging around in the industry. A lot of these things have been going on for a while. This is not new for rappers and entertainers to be going with young girls and young boys. This is nothing new. Everybody's clutching their pearls. It shouldn't be happening, and it's a sad thing, sad state of affairs, but this has been going on. It's just now it's catching up with some folks. And we're going to have to see how this all plays out. For now, Jay-Z is innocent until proven guilty. They'll go to court. And I hope for his sake that he's not on tape doing anything that is going to just destroy him. I really do. Wait until all the news comes out. If there's evidence that starts to surface, and of course, go full 100 on this situation. But in the interim, I would definitely appeal to people to, yes, be rational, think about things, try to piece things together. But we haven't seen any videos just yet, and we haven't heard from this Jane Doe. And so let's just wait and see what happens. But for Jay-Z's sake, I hope for his sake that he has no involvement in this. Anyway, leave your comments down below. I am so curious to hear what you all have to say about this matter. Where were you all when you got the news? What do you think about all of this? Do you think it's just jealousy and a shakedown? Someone's trying to blackmail Jay-Z to get money? Or do you think that maybe that he had some involvement, and it is possible that he harmed a minor? What do you think? Do you think it's going to have a lot of people in the industry running scared right now? Because if you can target someone like a P. Diddy and now Jay-Z, it's like, who's next? It really is who's next. Anyway, give this a big thumbs up, leave comments down below, subscribe to the channel if you like my style. If you want to contribute to this channel and keep it independent, please go into the description box, and you will find ways that you can give. One of my favorite ways, of course, is for you to buy me a coffee. I will put the QR code on the screen. You can scan that and make a donation, any amount, and it is not mandatory. It is solely at your discretion. And there are other ways to give inside of the description box as well. And a huge thank you to all of you who have given so far to the channel. I really just appreciate it, and I pray that you guys are blessed like 100-fold. I really do, because you're under no obligation to help this channel, but you do it anyway, and I'm just so thankful. Thank you so very much. And I will see you guys in my next video. Toodles.